Good evening, everyone. Uh, Jumping on a little late. Sorry about that. Had a little technical difficulty over here. Jumping on a little late for our preview for the weekend. I'm trying to start doing these after qualifying. And as normally, it would be a two-part show because we would have qualifying for the O'Reilly series or the truck series earlier, like Friday. And then the Cup series would qualify Saturday, but they did all of it today. So it put me a little behind. Actually, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race cranks up here in about 45 minutes. You can catch it on the CW app. We'll run through that real quick and give you some quick thoughts on that before we jump into the Cup side. Sam Mayer won the pole for Haas Factory Team. He's been showed speed all year long. Hasn't quite had the finishes I'm sure he would want. Then you have Cup Series veteran and Cup champion Kyle Larson is dropping down to race in this series. You'll see a lot of this throughout the year. Cup Series guys dropping down to race, trucks, cars, every lap on a track helps. Third starter is going to be Sheldon Creed, another Haas Factory Team. The two teammates are first and third. Then you go to Sammy Smith for JR Motorsports. That's Dale Jr.'s Motorsports. Brandon Jones and Taylor Gray are 5 and 6 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Jesse Love is like second or third in the point standings, I believe, right now. He's for Richard Childress Racing, is starting 7th. Raja Caruth for Jordan Anderson Racing is 8th. Justin Allgaier is 9th for JR Motorsports. And Jeremy Clements is 10th, and he races for Jeremy Clements Racing. So he really good starting position for him in this race. Some other notables, Austin Hill, another really staple on the O'Reilly series, is 13th. You've got another couple of Cup Series drop downs. Cole Custer is racing in this, and Connor Zilich also. And I believe we have one more, which is Chase Briscoe, who's going to be 23rd. Custer and Zilich are 16th and 17th, respectively, starting off. Cole Custer is a former champion of the O'Reilly series, so you want to definitely keep an eye on him. He knows how to get around this track in these cars, and the cars are way different. The Cup cars have a sequential gear shift. Pretty much, up, down, you pull forward, pull backwards. In the O'Reillys, it's the typical standard H pattern that you would have in your normal manual transmission, if those even exist anymore in the world. Good to see. We got WTP for Life jumping in with a question. I'm going to get to you in 1 second. Let me go through my race picks, what I would go with right here on the O'Reilly side. And it's hard to go against the Haas Factory Team, being that they're starting up front. But you've got to keep an eye on those Richard Childress Racing cars. Jesse Love, Austin Hill. Never can't count Justin Allgaier out of any race. He knows how to win. He reminds me a lot. Not that he's the same type driver, but the way he ends races reminds me a lot of my former driver, Kevin Harvick. They called him the closer. You won't hear about Allgaier, and then all of a sudden there he is. And you're like, where'd he come from? So definitely watching those two. You got to keep your eye on Kyle Larson. Anytime Kyle Larson starts near the front of any pack, he's a threat to be. I don't care what he's racing. He could be racing wheelbarrows. If that guy's starting near the front, I'm probably putting money on him to win this. But I would definitely keep an eye out for Mayer and Creed. Mayer, I know, wants to get that win to tie his teammate. Creed got the win earlier this year for his first ever. So my top 5 I'm watching are Mayer, Creed. I'm not going to count Larson. I'm not going to count a Cup driver. I'm going to keep it with the regulars in this series. So Creed, Mayer, Allgaier. I'm going to keep an eye on Jesse Love. And then as a flyer, just for the heck of it, I'm going to keep an eye on, I'm going to take somebody random that I want to see how well they perform here. Let's go with Carson Quapple. Got a younger kid, like his mentality and stuff. So want to see how he can do. So we'll just take a flyer on him, just to see he's starting from the 18th position. But the junior motorsports cars are good on every track too, and he's in one of those. So definitely want to keep an eye on him. Before we jump into the Cup Series, we're going to jump on over here to WTP for Life's question: is how important is pole position, and has someone from a double-digit pole position won a race? Pole position is really important. It's almost more important in the Cup Series than it is the O'Reilly Series, due to the simple fact that the Cup Series cars are a lot more aero dependent, and getting out in front just helps everything with the car. It helps in the O'Reilly Series too. Don't get me wrong, but you'll hear it mentioned a lot more on the Cup side, where they're talking about track position, because they want all that clean air. And when you hear the term clean air is air in front with nobody in front of you. Dirty air is when you're behind other cars and the air coming off the top of their car is now hitting yours, and it kind of can disturb your car a little bit because you don't get the full effect of the downforce on the car, on the nose, to keep the nose, kind of bad phrase, but glued to the racetrack. So it's not that the air is actual dirty. It's just that it's not clean air. It's disturbed air pretty much. So that's why you'll see pole position is super important. And has someone from a double-digit starting position won the race? Oh, yes. Yeah. There's been guys start. They'll go out to qualify. They'll, get real loose or real tight and have to back off the throttle a lot, or almost just shut down the practice lap and start from, in the 30, 35, 36 range and drive to the front. It takes a little more strategy when you have to start from that deep in the field, with pit stops and cautions and pitting at the right time. And sometimes I'm going to take 2 tires versus 4 tires, which that doesn't seem like it'd be that big of a deal. But a 2-tire stop is about 4 seconds, and a 4-tire stop's about 9 to 10. So if you're trailing somebody by 3 seconds on the track and you decide to do a 2-tire pit stop under the green flag, then you would gain 6 seconds on that person. Now, they're going to have 4 fresh tires and you're going to have 2. So over the course of a long run, they're going to have an advantage on you. But your goal is to do that, get out and run a few laps, hope for a caution. And then if you need to, you come in and pit. But you want to run a few laps to make everybody else have to decide if they're going to come in and take tires. You don't want the caution to happen in 2 laps. You want to run 20, 30, 40, 50 laps, whatever you need to do to make everybody else have to pit. And if you come out in first place after 2 tires and you've only dropped to 7th, but before the stop you were in 20th, well, you've made 13 positions on the racetrack. And now you're even with tires. So, but it does happen a lot. You'll see guys come from the back to the front quite a bit. Last year, as a matter of fact, in this race for the Cup Series, Josh Berry was a lap down and got what they call the free pass, the lucky dog. It used to be called the lucky dog. I think they just call it the free pass now. It was called the lucky dog because it used to be sponsored by Aaron's, and Aaron's had the dog for the mascot. And so, but now it's geared towards just a free pass. And it's pretty much if you're the first car 1 lap down and a caution comes out and you're not the cause of the caution, you can get a lap back. And that put him back on there. It put him back on the lead lap, and then he wound up coming in and getting tires, and then went back out. And a few minutes later, a caution happened, and everybody else had to come pit. He cycled to, I think, second. I think somebody else stayed out. He was in second place with only like 10, 12 laps left. And the guy who stayed out didn't have as good of tires as he did, and he drove past him and wound up winning his first race ever. So strategy definitely comes into a part of it for sure. It's just how you want to play with it. I do appreciate all the questions coming in from you, WTP for Life. I really like to see the interaction there and learning more about the sport. Let me run through the Cup Series starting lineup real quick, and we're going to go backwards to forwards. We're going to go 36 to 1, and then there'll be some updates to 16 and 24 on some teams that were penalized during pre-race inspection. And I'll go through those and what penalties it entails. I don't have the exacts of the penalties. I just know they failed pre-race inspection. And it was 4 teams. So starting in 36th is Ty Dillon. 35th, Cole Custer. Noah Gregson, Cody Ware, Josh Berry. There he is starting 32nd. Yet he won the race last year. Austin Cindric and Michael McDowell are your 30th. 29 to 20 is AJ Allmendinger, Brad Keselowski, Todd Gilliland, John Hunter Nemechek, Connor Zilich, Kyle Busch, who is a Las Vegas native, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Justin Allgaier is driving the 48 car. Alex Bowman has still not been cleared from the Vertigo yet, so Justin Allgaier is jumping in to drive that car. 21st is Joey Logano, and Riley Herbst, another Las Vegas native, is starting 20th. Moving into the top 20 at 19, you've got Carson Hocevar, Chase Briscoe at 18, Ross Chastain at 17, Shane Van Gisbergen at 16. Very, very, very impressive for Shane Van Gisbergen. He's getting so much better on the ovals after coming from the Australian Supercar Series a couple years ago. This guy's a force. He's getting better and better and better, and he's really dominant on the road courses. So watch him very close, especially for as we get closer to the chase after the regular season's over. Speaking of chases, Chase Elliott is 15th. Eric Jones, 14. Daniel Suarez, good qualifying run from Daniel Suarez. Zane Smith, Austin Dillon, round out the 11. Now your top 10. Toyota dominates this track, by the way. Toyota is so dominant. They don't win every race here, but God, they're good here. Toyotas and the Chevys are normally really, really, really good on these 1.5 mile tracks. So we'll go into 10th is Chris Buescher for RFK Racing. 9th, William Byron for Hendrick Motorsports. 8th, Ryan Preece for RFK Racing. 7, Tyler Reddick, previous winner of the 3 races in a row, first 3 races of the year. First time in history, 2311 Racing. The Columbus Comet, Ryan Blaney, is starting 6th from Team Penske. Kyle Larson is 5th from Hendrick Motorsports. And then Bubba Wallace is 4th from 2311 Racing. So both 2311 racing cars, 2 of the 3, I should say, are in the top 7. And here's where, and they're both Toyotas too, by the way. And here's the list of the top 3. Ty Gibbs, 3rd, Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny Hamlin, 2nd, Joe Gibbs Racing. Christopher Bell, 1st, Joe Gibbs Racing. All Toyotas dominating. Oh, I see Mr. The Star has jumped in real quick. Got to give a quick shout out. He works for one of the vendors we use at work, and we've been talking a lot of sports. This is the guy I've mentioned that I'm going to get on with one of us one time and do some football talk. He's a big Raiders fan. Not real big into NASCAR, but wants to learn more. So I've kind of told him this is the place to come to learn it. And good to see you in here. So those are that. I'm going to, while I'm pulling this up real quick, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my NASCAR page and go ahead and click on my fantasy lineup here while I'm getting this done. We'll go play now. Let me get this, share my screen with y'all. And there we go. Should be able to pop up now. So again, this is your fantasy lineup. Like I said, you can follow my advice, but take that at your own risk. I'm sitting 43rd right now in the league. My overall rank in the world is 83,000. So take that for what it's worth. But it's fun. And again, it goes to the free points for your fan rewards, towards free tickets and merchandise and stuff. So again, you only get 10 races for the first 26 to use, people. So this is where I'm going to start being a little more selective. Like I've already used him a couple times. We're going to pull Tyler Reddick out. I still have 10 of 10 with Christopher Bell. So we're going to throw him in starting first. Ryan Blaney, I've already used. I haven't used any Hamlin, so I'm going to throw him in. I'm pretty much throwing the top 3 starters. Bell, Hamlin, and Gibbs. I haven't used any one of them all year, so that gives me some leeway here. Kyle Larson, I've only used once, but I'm not going to use him in this race because I want to save him. I will use William Byron. Still started 9th position. Ross Chastain, I've used. See if I can find somebody else that's got 10 of 10 that I like. I think I'm going to take a flyer with Zane Smith. Zane Smith has been pretty fast for Front Row Motorsports. Just had some incidents caused him some stuff. And I'm definitely not using Joey Logano on this track. I'll use Daniel Suarez. He's good at these 1.5 miles too. I'm going to put him in my garage. So if one of these first 5 wrecks, I can sub Daniel Suarez in before the start of the 3rd stage. This makes me mad that they put Josh Berry in here. I'm going Ty Gibbs to beat Josh Berry. Something's not right with that Wood Brothers team this year. They got plenty of time to fix it, but it needs to start pretty soon. I will say after this race, we kind of hit Josh Berry's wheelhouse where it's a bunch of short tracks. As the upcoming races, we leave Las Vegas and we go to Darlington, South Carolina. Then we head to Martinsville, Virginia. And then from there, we head down to Bristol. So those are all 3 Bristol, Tennessee, 3 short tracks in a row, which is kind of his bread and butter. So I'd like to have a good run here to get some momentum and then really see what he does. This is a hard one, Suarez and Hocevar. I like Suarez on these tracks, but Carson Hocevar is so aggressive and fast. But I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez. I'm going to go with the little more planned out approach here. They put some good matchups out this week. Blaney and Reddick. I'm going to take Reddick. I just think the Toyotas are that strong here. And Bubba Wallace and Chase Briscoe, I'm going to take Bubba Wallace. So my lineup set. So bam, there's 10 points for creating my lineup here. And each one of these is worth 10 points. So 50 total points. And again, you can come down here. Here's some of your hot picks. Kyle Larson, William Byron, avoid Chase Elliott, avoid Ryan Blaney, and then your sleepers, Chastain. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, last week, I think Blaney was on the hot list and wound up winning the race, but I think Christopher Bell was like a avoid or something. He might have been something. I think he was on the avoid list and he wound up 2nd place. So, and should have probably won the race, to be honest. But that's where we are with that. Then if you want to just see what's going on with the fan rewards, click on the little profile, bring up the fan rewards. Like I was telling you about your points, 5,000 gets you free tickets. I'm sitting at 1,383 already. This is the 5th race of the season. So if you're interested in getting points, you still got plenty of time. I'm at the champion level, so I get bonus points also. And you can get to the champion level by the end of the year. But if you still have plenty of time to get in and get your points going. And if you're interested in it, you can always comment on this. I can direct you to places. I also have a website. I have a Patreon page that's got a link to it all. NASCAR for Beginners is a series there. It's on YouTube. It's also being posted episode by episode on Spotify for podcast listening. So, Spotify might be the way to go if you don't want to have to look at me, which I wouldn't blame you. So those are just kind of the race picks for this week. Watch the Toyotas. Races tomorrow, I think at 3:30. It's always weird when they're out west because I never know if they're doing it's 4 p.m. East. So 4 p.m. on the East is when the race is tomorrow. So a couple of, let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, I saw your entry, clean air, dirty air. That's what they call it. Clean air, dirty air. I don't know why it's not, why it's not something else, but I guess it does make sense because, if you're out in front, the air's clean. There's nothing disturbing it. And if you're behind other cars, it's getting disturbed. So it would make it dirty. So definitely for sure the usage, but they have tons of usages for things in NASCAR. Let's see, excuse me there. If you had a chance to be involved in any part of NASCAR racing, what part would you choose? That's a good one. Drivers, obviously, the answer here. But I was watching qualifying today, and as much fun and as cool as it sounds, these guys are going 191 to 193 miles an hour off the straightaway down into turn 1, and they don't lift off the throttle. Around turns 1 and 2, they're 100% wide open throttle. Now, when they get down to 3 and 4, they lift a little bit. But I'm talking they lift a little bit, like they're down to like 165, 170. So we'll know more in a couple of weeks what it's like. We're going to have some exclusive content on Patreon when I do a ride along at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And then we're going to have a bunch of exclusive content from Martinsville Speedway posted on Patreon too. That's a really good question. I think it'd be really cool to be like one of the pit guys. I just don't know which one. I don't want to be a tire changer because there's just way too much pressure for me on that. These guys, if the lug doesn't get locked on and the wheel comes off, there's so many different things with the single lug system now, especially. The fuel man would be a pretty cool one. Those gas cans are heavy. And when you want to be on a pit crew, you must remember that almost every member on these pit crews is a former Division I college athlete. Some are former pro athletes that just maybe got drafted and didn't make it in the NFL, didn't work out for them. Maybe an injury derailed their career in the NFL. These guys, if you watch the race when they do their pit crew interviews, they're like former tight end, Clemson University. So these aren't just guys anymore that used to be doing these pit crews. These guys used to get out there changing tires. They got cigarettes hanging out their mouth. These guys are pure athletes with diets, and it's gotten very, very, very insane. So I don't know, that's hard. I'd like to eventually say, if you're talking any part of NASCAR, I think it'd be amazing to be like one of the pit road reporters. Go up and just talk to the guys, talk to the crew members. You can go watch some races where pit crew members get hit with the cars and they get up and keep doing their stops and do the rest of the race. And be like, are you okay? So that's a really good question, but it'd have to be something along those lines, some sort of reporter, something to do with the car, like maybe even the guy who inflates the tire pressures or regulates the tire pressures, or Probably the best job I'd be suited for is the guy that takes the long pole, because you can only have so many people over, and reaches through the window net and hands the driver a new water bottle. That's probably what I'm best suited for. That, or the guy who runs out and peels off the little tear off on the windshield. So those are probably more of my wheelhouse for my athletic ability at this point in my life. And I don't even know, I might pull a hamstring trying to do something like that. So, yeah, good question. So that'd probably be it. Something to do with the reporting, or one of the easier jobs. But there's tons of it. And anybody that, if kids are interested in this, I'll tell you right away, science, technology, math, the STEM programs, engineering, all the guys that sit on the pit box and make the calls for the tire pressures and the crew chiefs and all that, they all are engineers. And there's a bunch of them are from like over in the Indiana area, believe it or not. You'd think Charlotte, North Carolina, but a lot of them get their degree. There's a program at Purdue University. It could be Indiana. That has a program based on like NASCAR technology, engineering. It's crazy. So a bunch of them go there. But yeah, there's tons of stuff for kids that are interested in it to go into, and get it all, everything they need to learn. But it definitely takes a lot of hard work. 100% for sure takes a lot of hard work. And I had mentioned, until we get any more comments or questions popping up, I'm going to jump over and go through the penalties real quick. The cars that failed inspection multiple times, not just once, multiple times, had their car chief, not the crew chief, not the guy that does all this is the guy who's over the whole car and everything. This isn't the guy making the calls on pit box. So I'll see if I can get you the names of these people. The teams penalized were the 2 car of Austin Cindric for Team Penske, the 10 car of Ty Dillon. I forget who he drives for. It's a good question. Who does Ty Dillon drive for? Colleague Racing. I should have known that. The number 16 car of AJ Allmendinger from Colleague Racing. So it sounds like the Colleague cars had both their cars set up the exact same way. So when one failed, the other did. And then the number 24 car of William Byron for Hendrick Motorsports, who qualified 8th, I believe is what I said, right? Nope, 9th, sorry. They all lost their car chief. Now, they not only lost their car chief, but they also lose pit box selection, because you choose your pit box based on where you qualify. So Christopher Bell gets first choice, and then all the way down to 36 gets last choice. But those 4 won't get a choice. So pretty much 1 through 32, say, would pick, and then they'd get the last 4 spots that are open. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but Christopher Bell is going to choose pit stall number 1, which is at the end of pit road, right before pit road exit. Because as long as you do pit road speed coming to the pit box, you don't really worry about speeding leaving pit road. You just hammer down and go. So it's the quickest in, quickest out. Other cars, but let's just take the number 10 car, for example. He's going to have to pick whatever's kind of left over, and it's going to be probably in the middle of 2 cars. So think about a car pitting here, and a car pitting here, and then he's got to come around this car and get in the middle of them. And you have to be in your pit box to do any service on the car. If his back tire is out of the pit box and they service it, it's a penalty. So it matters a lot what pit box you are in. So those are the big penalties for those 4. It's kind of a big deal, but we're going to see how it plays out. It's nothing that any of the teams like the William Byron, he couldn't overcome this. This is not something that's going to really, say, oh, well, he's going to finish last now. That's not that at all. Because let's just, for an example, say he pits between the car number 12 and the car number, 18 or 16 or 18. So in between the 12 and the 18 is where the 24 has to pit. Well, let's say something happens to the 18 and he gets involved in an accident and gets put out of the race early. Well, now that box is open, so now he doesn't have to go in between them. He can just kind of slide on into his pit box. Or if not even if he's out of the race, if he's a lap down, because when you come to pit, lead lap cars pit. And then when they come back around the track again, the cars a lap down and more get to pit. So if the 12 or 18 is a lap down, then he doesn't have to deal with them on his pit stop because they're not going to be there. So, and these crew chiefs are so competitive, but they're also smart. They work with each other. If the 18 is pitted, they'll tell the 18 to stop short in his box to leave a gap. And the 12 team may say, go long in your box, just to give extra wiggle room to kind of keep everybody from hitting each other. Because the last thing you want to do is try to get out of your pits and you bump each other or God forbid, hit one of the crew members. But you don't want to bump it and the rear of that car damages the whole front of your car. And now you've lost your whole downforce and your speed for the rest of the race. So the crew chiefs do well working with each other. Even though it is competitive, they're still going to be smart about it and know that, you know what, later in the year, I might need a favor and I might need them to pit long so we can have more room. So it's a give or take. I've pretty much told you my predictions. Go with a Toyota. I would. You want a sleeper? My sleeper, Shane Van Gisbergen would be one. Chase Briscoe coming from the back. Even though I said I wouldn't use Joey Logano, he knows how to get around this track. He's won it before. Really fun race to watch, too. They'll fan out 3-4 wide going around it. A couple of years ago at this track, Blaney was winning the race coming off turn 3, going into turn 4, and he took the low line, and Tyler Reddick took the high line up right near the wall. And you'll look at this if you watch the race on FS1 or the Fox app. They'll have a camera normally on the outside of the car right again, and you'll see these cars are like 2, 3, 4 inches off the wall. And he was right up next to the wall and just hammered it down and went around and wound up passing Blaney and getting the win, which advanced him to what was called the play in the playoffs. It advanced into the championship 4. So lots of different lines in this track, lots of different grooves. There's bumps in the track, so your car has to be able to handle going over the bumps. Lots to watch for. You want to start watching some of these guys mired in the back end points. People like, let's just name a few here. Josh Berry's 31st. Austin Cindric is 30th. Let's see who's up here. That's a bigger name. Kyle Busch is 20th. He's 4 positions out of the playoffs. Ross Chastain is 23rd. I mean, these are guys that need a run. And Chase Briscoe, a member of the championship 4 last year, 33rd in points right now. These guys need to start turning their season around, or else there's not going to be any panic time. It's going to be flush this down the toilet and let's move on to next year. And some teams, when they know they're eliminated from the chase, a lot of them will start focusing on next year's stuff. Let's start working with the setup. Let's start playing around on these tracks that we're going to go to next year as well, and start looking for different setups to bring back next year. So all in all, should be a good weekend. We're going to cut this out of here. It's about 5:20 right now. We're going to cut this out and go jump on and get ready to watch the race. The race today for the O'Reilly series is on the CW network. So other than that, I mean, y'all definitely tune in. If you watch the races today and tomorrow, if you pop up, especially you down there, Mr. The Star, you watch any of them and you got some questions, bring them to me when you come see me on Thursday. And we'll sit down outside, take a little break, and we'll go over it and talk about it. But you can always drop me a comment in here. You can, let me know what we're going through. Let me know what's up. Watch it on YouTube. Let me know. I'll answer every comment and question I see, and we'll get everybody locked into this sport and see what's going on. So other than that, everybody have a great evening, and we will catch up with y'all next time. I believe we'll be back with the WTP Sports Dudes tomorrow. I'd like to say 9 a.m., but they keep changing the time on me. I guess they know that I'm old and I like schedules, and they keep changing it. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 9. I'm waiting for them to come through and go, we're going to do 8:27. And I'm just waiting on this one. But definitely all of our channels are scrolling down at the bottom down here too. Go like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you know when we go live. We're pretty much getting something going almost every day. We also have a webpage, WTPSportsDudes.com. We do a lot of writing and blogs and stuff over there. We have a Patreon account. Obviously, I have mine, which is SEC Sean. It's free. You don't have to be a paid member, but paid members will get benefits moving forward. We do have one for the WTP Sports Dudes also. You can find it WTP Sports Dudes. We post pretty much all the NASCAR and all of our content that I get sent. We post it over there. We have memberships available on that as well. So definitely jump in. And of course, any podcast you see from me, any of the guys that send me that I get the podcast and they tell me to, will be posted to the Spotify podcast. Mine is under NASCAR Talks. If you see it, the little logo is the NASCAR, the cup, the championship cup with all the tracks on it. That's my logo. And then WTP Sports Dudes 2026 is the other podcast on Spotify. And it's just like a picture of a bunch of people, sports stuff, like sports balls and things like that. So definitely like, subscribe, go listen to those, give them a listen, give them a thumbs up, hit a little favorite button. It doesn't cost nothing to do none of that. You can be a free member on the Patreon channels. Just makes us, grow the channel a little bigger so we know. And then definitely comment and let us know what content y'all want, and we'll produce something geared towards y'all. So other than that, have a good evening. I'm going to jump off and go watch some racing while flipping between some basketball and baseball, I'm sure. So y'all have a good evening, and we'll catch up later.